You slide out of your mother and drop onto the sand, somewhere in the Gobi Desert. The cord is still attached to your belly, and she turns around to lick it away along with the fluid covering your body. You try to lift your head, but it feels too heavy, so you rest your chin back on the ground. Then, she nudges your side with her nose, pushing you to move. You need to stand, because staying down means you can't feed, so you push your front legs forward and try to lift yourself up. But your legs shake and fold under your weight, and you collapse back onto the sand. You try again, this time spreading your legs wider for balance, and you manage to get halfway up before your back legs give out and you fall sideways. Your mother makes a low rumbling sound and steps closer, positioning herself beside you. So you try one more time, pushing hard with all 4 legs at once, and finally, you stand. Your legs wobble and your knees lock stiff to keep you from falling, but you're up. Now you need to find her belly, so you take a step forward and nearly trip over your own front leg. But you catch yourself and shuffle closer to her side. She stands still while you search, your nose bumping against her fur until you find the teat. You latch on and drink, the milk thick and warm as it fills your stomach. After a few minutes, she starts walking slowly, and you have to let go and follow. Your legs feel stronger now, but you still fall twice before you figure out how to match her pace. She leads you toward a small group of camels, resting near a low ridge. Then, a young male from the group walks toward you, his head lowered to sniff. But your mother steps between you and him, opens her mouth and spits a thick stream of saliva at his face. He jerks back and turns away, and she keeps walking. You stay close behind her, and the group accepts you without any trouble. That's where you'll stay for now, but out here, nothing stays still for long, and soon the group will start moving again. You're 5 days old now, and the group is moving. Your legs are stronger than they were at birth, and you can keep up with your mother without falling anymore. Then, she suddenly picks up her pace, and the rest of the group does the same, so you start running to match them. Your legs stretch out longer with each step, and you realize you're faster than you thought. That's when you spot the reason everyone is running. A dust cloud rises in the distance behind you, and inside it, several wild dogs are spreading out to surround the group. The adults cluster together, and you stay pressed against your mother's side as the dogs get closer. They circle the group, but don't attack right away, testing for weakness instead. Then, one of them breaks from the pack and charges straight at you because you're the smallest and slowest target. You try to move behind your mother, but the dog cuts you off, so you kick backward with your back legs even though you miss completely. But the motion makes the dog hesitate for a second, giving the adult male from your group time to charge at it from the side with his chest slamming into the dog's ribs. The dog yelps and stumbles sideways, then scrambles back toward the rest of the pack. The other dogs watch for a moment, then turn and run in the opposite direction, disappearing into the dust. The group slows back to a walk, and you stay close to your mother, your legs still shaking from the sprint. A few hours later, you try to nurse, but she keeps walking, so you have to figure out how to drink while moving. You match her stride and latch on without stopping, the milk flowing into your mouth as your legs move in rhythm with hers. It takes a few tries before you can do it without tripping, but once you figure it out, feeding becomes easier. You'll need to keep up from now on because the group never stops for long, and anything that falls behind gets left to the dogs. Skip forward a bit, and you're 3 months old. The group hasn't found water in 6 days, and your mouth feels dry every time you try to swallow. Your mother's milk has become less frequent, and when you try to nurse, she pushes you away gently because there's nothing left to give. Then, an older calf ahead of you stumbles and drops onto its knees in the sand. It tries to stand back up, but its legs won't move, so it just stays there with its head lowered. The group slows down for a moment, but the lead female keeps walking, so everyone else follows without stopping. You look back once and see the calf still on the ground with vultures already circling above it. 2 days later, the lead female suddenly changes direction and walks toward a rocky area in the distance. The rest of the group follows her without hesitation, and you stay close to your mother as she picks up her pace. When the lead female reaches a dry riverbed, she stops and starts digging into the sand with her front legs, scooping it aside with her hooves. The other adults move in around her and start digging too, pushing the sand away until the ground beneath turns darker. You need to see what they're doing, so you move closer to the edge and watch as water begins pooling slowly in the hole they've made. The adults lower their heads and drink first, their mouths pulling the water up in long, steady gulps. You wait at the edge because you know you can't push in yet, and after a few minutes, your mother steps back and makes space for you. So you drop your head into the hole and drink, the water murky and gritty, but you don't stop until your stomach feels full again. Your mother drinks beside you, then licks the side of your face once before stepping away. Your body is heavier now with the water inside you, but eventually, the group will move again. And next time, you might not be this close to someone who knows where to dig. You're 8 months old, and the wind starts changing. The sky ahead turns orange and brown, and the group clusters together with the adults forming a ring around the younger camels. You need to stay close to your mother because something is coming, so you press against her front leg as the wind picks up speed. Then, sand begins hitting your face, stinging your eyes and making you blink rapidly. You tuck yourself closer to her side, trying to block the sand with her body. But the wind gets stronger, and the visibility drops until you can only see shapes around you. The sand whips across your face harder now, so you close your eyes completely and seal your nostrils by pressing them shut. That's when the storm hits with full force, and the wind roars so loud that you can't hear anything else. You try to stay next to your mother, but when you open your eyes for just a second, she's gone. You can't see her anywhere, so you call out, but the wind swallows the sound before it goes anywhere. You try moving forward to find her, but you trip over something solid, maybe another camel or a rock, and fall onto your side. Getting back up won't help because you can't see where to go, so you drop onto your knees, lower your head to the ground, and stay there. The sand piles up against your side as you wait, and you keep your eyes and nostrils closed while the storm rages around you. After what feels like hours, the wind finally dies down and you lift your head to look around. The group is scattered across the sand with some camels close by and others just distant shapes in the haze. Then, you spot your mother about 20 meters away, already walking toward you. She reaches you and sniffs your face, then makes a low grunt before turning to rejoin the others. The group starts reforming slowly, and you count the shapes as they come together, but one of the young males is missing. The group doesn't go looking for him, and after a few minutes, everyone starts walking again. You survived by staying still, but soon, you won't have a choice about whether to stay with this group or not. You're 2 years old now, and the dominant male has decided you're too old to stay. You're walking with the group like always when he breaks away from the others and walks straight toward you. He makes a deep, rumbling sound from his throat and lowers his head. So you step backward because you know what's coming. But he doesn't stop, so you keep backing away until he suddenly charges and slams his chest into your side, knocking you off balance. You try to move back toward the group because that's where you've always been, but he blocks your path with his body and pushes you again. Your mother is watching from the group, but she doesn't move to help because this is how it works. Then, he charges at you a second time and bites at your neck, his teeth scraping your skin. You know you can't win, so you turn and run in the opposite direction, away from the group. After running for several hundred meters, you stop and look back at the herd, but they're already moving away from you. That's it. You're alone now. 3 days pass, and you've been wandering by yourself, following faint tracks in the sand that don't lead anywhere. Then, you spot 2 other young males in the distance, both around your age, grazing on sparse shrubs. You need to stay with someone because being alone makes you an easier target, so you start walking toward them slowly. They lift their heads and watch you come closer, but they don't run. One of them steps forward and sniffs your face, checking you, but there's no aggression in the gesture. So you stay near them, and they don't push you away. Over the next few days, the 3 of you travel together, grazing on tough grasses and whatever shrubs you can find. Then, one of them finds a small pocket of water trapped between rocks, and all 3 of you lower your heads and drink until it's gone. After that, you stay close to them, moving as a loose group. You're not part of a family anymore, but one day, you'll be strong enough to fight for your own herd. Skip forward, and you're 5 years old. Your body has thickened, and your hump rises high off your back, storing fat from months of grazing. Your bachelor group comes across a small herd with several females, and a lone dominant male stands between you and them. He's older, but still strong enough to hold his ground. One of your companions decides to test him and walks toward the females, but the dominant male immediately charges and drives him back with his chest. Then, your other companion tries from a different angle, but the male turns and forces him away too. You watch both attempts and notice something useful. He's slower when he turns to his left, probably an old injury or just age. So you start walking toward the females from his left side while he's still focused on chasing off your companions. He spots you too late and tries to turn, but you're already moving fast, so you ram your chest into his shoulder before he can set his weight. He stumbles sideways but recovers quickly, then charges straight at you with his head lowered. You sidestep to the right and he passes you, so you twist and bite at his back leg, your teeth catching skin. He spins around faster than you expected, and you both clash head-to-head with your necks pushing against each other. The fight gets loud, full of grunting and the sound of bodies slamming together. But he's heavier than you, and he starts pushing you backward across the sand. You need to change your position, so you drop low and shove upward into his chest, trying to knock him off balance. He loses his footing slightly, and you press forward, but he recovers and slams into your side hard enough to knock you onto your knees. You try to get back up, but he stands over you with his throat rumbling deep, and you know the fight is over. So you stay down, and after a moment, he turns back toward his herd, satisfied. You get up slowly and walk back to your bachelor companions, who are already moving away from the area. You lost today, but you're still growing, and he's only getting older. Eventually, you'll be ready to try again. You're 7 years old, and you haven't traveled with the bachelor group in months. You've been following a small herd at a distance for 3 days, watching them move and graze. The dominant male is old, and his movements are stiff when he walks. You need a herd of your own, so today you start walking toward them slowly, not charging or showing aggression. He notices you right away and walks toward you, but his pace is slower than it should be. You hold your ground and don't back away, so he stops a few meters in front of you and opens his mouth wide. A thick, gurgling sound comes from his throat as froth builds up around his lips, and he's trying to intimidate you into leaving. But you mirror the display exactly, opening your mouth and letting your throat inflate while drool drips from your jaw. He watches you for a moment, then charges, and you're ready for it. You meet him head-on, and the collision echoes across the sand, but neither of you falls. Then, you twist your neck and bite into his shoulder, your teeth finding skin. He tries to shove you sideways, but you're heavier now than you were 2 years ago, and he can't move you like he used to. He pushes again, but his front legs buckle slightly under the effort, so you press forward and drive him backwards step by step. He tries one more shove, putting all his weight into it, but you don't move at all. After a moment, he stops pushing and turns away from you with his head lowered. You don't chase him because the fight is already over, and he walks off into the desert alone. The females barely react to any of this. They just keep grazing like nothing happened. So you start circling the herd slowly, marking your presence and making sure they know you're staying. Then, one of the older females walks toward you and sniffs your face, checking you. She turns back to the others after a moment, and that's it. The herd is yours now, but keeping it will be harder than taking it, and younger males are always looking for their chance. You're 11 years old now. You're leading your herd across a flat stretch of sand toward distant rocks, where you know water collects in the shade. Your hump has started to sag more than it used to, because you haven't stored as much fat this season. A younger male has been following the herd for 2 days, staying just far enough back that you haven't confronted him yet. But today, he's closer than before, walking almost parallel to your group. You keep moving forward because reaching the rocks is more important than dealing with him right now. Then, he breaks into a run and charges straight at you, so you turn to meet him. But your legs move slower than they should, and before you can set your weight properly, he slams into your side with his full body. You try to push back, but he's heavier and stronger, and you can feel your hooves sliding in the sand. He bites your neck, and you bite back, but your grip is weaker than it was before. The fight doesn't last long because he shoves you down onto your knees within seconds. You try to stand back up, but he rams you again and you fall onto your side in the sand. He stands over you with his throat rumbling, and you try one more time to lift yourself, but your legs won't hold. So you stay down, and he turns away from you, walking straight toward the herd. The females don't resist or even look back at you. They just start following him as he leads them toward the rocks. You lie there with your side pressed against the sand, your breathing heavy and uneven. The herd gets smaller in the distance until they disappear completely. Your body stops moving after a while, and the sand around you stays still. By the time the sun starts to drop, your body is already cooling. Then, the wind picks up and begins covering you slowly, one grain at a time, until the sand takes you back into the desert.